Base Kit Mori's Perk reworks. What is going on? 2024 DBD? This is really happening? What's up, guys? My name is Pogesque, and welcome back to the channel. And I want to talk about the September update that the devs put out just recently. Today is the 14th of September, and they just put this out yesterday, talking about some big changes coming to the game. So I guess we'll get right into it. Not going to be too much fluff on this one. I kind of want to go through this pretty quickly with you guys. Oops, sorry about that, bottom right. So, big changes coming up. We're talking, like I said, perk redefinitions and base kit Moris. So, they talked about this finishing Mori thing for a while. Originally, it was going to come out with if every single survivor was in the dying state, hooked or dead, if the last person was down, it would instantly Mori them and kill everybody else off. So it was like a final Mori, but the trade-off for survivors was that there was no slugging anymore. Survivors could always stand up, and then perks like Unbreakable would make you stand up even faster than normal. And of course, I think that would apply with, was it Tenacity? Makes it charge up faster too. I don't remember exactly which, but anyway, it was supposed to be that trade-off dynamic, but apparently it was just a little bit too much for the game. So they're just going to rework Moris instead to behave in this particular way. So now, this is base kit. Nothing needs to be brought. The killer can now perform a Mori on the final survivor without using an offering. So this means everybody else has to be dead, I imagine. I guess I'll read the note here. I usually don't read the notes, but I need a bit more clarification on that. And objects obstructing the camera during the Mori animation will fade away. I wonder if that applies to Myers, because he has Mori throughout the game. So I hope that would kind of apply to that too. And then the Memento Mori offerings have a new effect. You gain a large blood point bonus when performing a Mori. That could be really good for Myers too, like farming points if you have Tombstone or Tombstone Piece. So pretty cool. Let's read this note. When finishing Mori system was previously tested, many found it to be surrounding gameplay changes have too large of an effect on the match. We scale back the system to better suit what players expected from it. Killers now have the option to kill the final survivor if they so choose. This will provide some visual flair and create a satisfying end to a match. Since this change would make Memento Ori offerings obsolete, we have reworked them to instead reward killers with a large amount of blood points based on their rarity and when the Mori is performed. Also added a mechanic which hides nearby objects when Mori is happening to prevent rocks, crates, and other things from rudely standing in the way so you can see all your kills in their glory. So I kind of hope that they don't make it that a survivor all survivors have to be dead, right? So say somebody's on a hook and they're going to struggle for like 70 more seconds. Like, if you want to get that Mori, it should just basically act as they died instantly, and that survivor who's struggling dies as well. We'll see how they do it. They usually leave out a lot of details. I ask these questions during these videos, and they typically cover them when the game comes out. So again, big perk reworks. We're going to go over these, I'd say in good detail, but relatively quickly. I want to test out a video that's not as long-winded. So teamwork perks, teamwork of 2 and collective stealth. They basically feel a lot better now because they used to be pretty bad. Like, they were really not worth taking. But now the effects of these perks will linger for a few seconds when out of range. Re-entering the range before the linger time expires will maintain the effect. So basically, you get like a buffer if you ever like stray away from your teammate, and then you come back and it's fine. And the range goes up to 16 meters now on both perks. And then the power of 2 no longer has a cooldown. They both no longer have a cooldown, and they no longer deactivate if someone loses a health state. So the perk themselves doesn't change, at least how it works. But it seems like it's just the things around teamwork are better now. So I think this would be really cool. You'll definitely see some Survive with Friends type of activity, like somebody who has boil over or something like that. Or what is it? It might not be boil. Is it boil over? Which is the one that gives you the little like the motorcycle for you? I might put a caption on screen. I don't remember exactly, but like being near somebody with, I think this perk makes you faster near your teammate. That would be even better. I don't know scratch marks, but pretty cool, pretty cool. We'll see how that feels when that comes out. Definitely makes it more of a viable perk. Corrective action. This one's actually kind of huge. Now applies to survivors within 8 meters. It used to just be whatever you're working on. And prevented skill checks now become great skill checks. So that could be even better for adding progression instead of taking it away, which is pretty cool. It probably will only be like it'd be like my teammates are noobs and you have that. Otherwise, I don't really see a reason to have it. Like, maybe you just don't want the killer to know where you are, and we can't afford to have skill check misses. Pretty cool. And then inner focus. I think that's, what is that? When you see other people's scratch marks? I can't remember exactly, but increases the aura reading duration to 10 seconds and there's no range. Yeah, I'm not exactly sure what that is. I'll have to double check what that is, but basically they made it so it always applies. It's pretty cool. Makes some of these more like aura and like I won't say gimmicky perks, but like off meta perks, more reliable. We're gonna live forever. This perk used to be crazy meta because it was a big fat blood point multiplier, but now it's not doing that because they wanted to tone down the multipliers, and they increased the healing speed bonus to 150% on a down survivor. It used to be 100. Survivors don't let the dying state, so that makes sense. And then no longer gives them endurance when they get picked up, and it just has a cooldown. I think they don't have tokens anymore too, right? Is there still tokens you got to get? Yeah, no longer needs to be activated. Yeah. Okay, so you don't have to like farm tokens from taking a body block. It just has a cooldown, so it's more reliable. But you can't like stack it, I guess. So you can't like pick up multiple people. It just goes on cooldown, which is fine. Poise. This one was pretty huge. When you start repairing a generator, see the killer's aura. I wonder if you like tap a gen, does that keep happening, or is it like the first touch of that generator ever, like for the whole match? Like you have like 7 procs of this. That'd be pretty cool. It increases the duration of this. From 10, 12 to 14 seconds. Wait. Oh, so you still get the normal effect of poised. Increases the duration. Wait, so I'm kind of confused. They talk about killer's aura for 6 seconds. Increases the duration. So did they add this? And then when you finish a gen, your scratch marks are still hidden? That's pretty cool. I thought that was just changing it to this. And then this is why that confused me. So that's pretty cool. So your scratch marks are hidden when a gen's completed, and you see the killer's aura when you start a gen. I kind of wish it was like a better version of this effect. That would be pretty cool, but it's something different. Might see that perk we use more often. Blood Rush, I think, was one where you were healthy, and on your final hook state, you would basically get rid of exhaustion and injure yourself, and then be re-healed afterwards. This activates for 40, 50, 60 seconds after being unhooked. Now deactivates when performing conspicuous action. I had to double check this perk again too. Deactivates when the exit gates are powered. I think this is basically gives you a sprint burst, or it makes you not exhausted. I can't remember exactly, but yeah, it no longer will make you hurt yourself. Oh no, it doesn't heal you at all. Oh, okay. So basically what you could do is if you had sprint burst off a hook, you would activate this, hurt yourself, and then sprint burst again. So that would, and it doesn't activate endgame, so that's kind of cool. So that also applies multiple times. It's not just final hook, right? So that's pretty neat. I kind of like that. It's still activated button, I think, to proc it too. Now, Quick Gambit. This one's pretty interesting. When being chased, see the aura of survivors, and then Quick Gambit has a 60-second cooldown upon losing a health state. But basically what happens is if you're just running from the killer in chase, everyone gets up to a 5% repair speed boost. So pretty crazy, especially seeing the aura of other survivors. That's so helpful so you don't like take them to an almost completed gen. That's like such a big problem. Survivors who were doing the chase or being chased never got that ability to see other survivors unless they used like Bond or something. But this actually has something better, and it's basically Bond, like max map Bond, and they get a boost. So pretty freaking cool. You're probably going to see this perk a lot more too. It's a very strong one if you have somebody who's really good at looping. So you'll see this and like resilience, and you probably see finesse too, and then maybe like dead hard or like DS or something for somebody who just needs to be able to do the looping. Distortion no longer has tokens, and instead deactivates until you are chased, which is pretty cool. So you can't just basically hide away like a little coward and get like infinite stacks of this. Like you have to get chased, and then it comes back. So it blocks one reveal, and the next time you're going to be revealed again. So pretty cool. I do like that idea. It's also up to 12 seconds instead of 10. Lucky Stars got reworked. Again, minor change. This is totally different. Suppresses grunts of pain and pulls of blood as long as you are in a locker, and then it lingers 30 seconds after you exit a locker. So it used to be 10 upon entering, but now it's 30 seconds after as well. That's actually pretty crazy. That way you'll see the blood pooling outside the locker, and they won't hear your grunts of pain. They'll literally have no way to know you're in there. Pretty cool. You could probably see this with a lot of people who just like to be stealthy. Maybe they'll use that perk, Dissolution or something. I mean, I can't remember what it is exactly, but it's like the LED perk where it fake opens a locker, then you hide another one, and you'll be totally stealthy. They'll have no idea. So you can see Quick and Quiet, that perk, and then you'll see Lucky Star, and you can totally fade away as long as the killer doesn't know you're there. Maybe even head on just for the hell of it, you know? Genetic Limits. This one is a little bit more interesting. It used to be only on when the survivor would heal, they'd be exhausted for 30 seconds. But if anytime they lose a health state, they're exhausted. So basically, if you know they have Dead Hard, you could have this perk and take away Dead Hard because they can't use it because they're exhausted. They'd have to literally sit still in a chase for 8 seconds, which is very hard to do sometimes, but they might try. They might try. Leverage. I think this was a perk that used to stack throughout the game. But it would like get stronger and stronger as it went on. But it was only like a limited time, right? I think every time somebody got hooked, everybody was debuffed for like a minute or something. But it was like kind of weak, and it just got better each time. But now it's every time somebody gets unhooked, that person who unhooks has a 50% slower heal speed. So it's going to incentivize the insta heal. It's going to try to counter Will Make It, but it's still half the strength of Will Make It. And the killer has to equip it. So it's still not that good of a perk. You don't see this used. I don't know. And then Thwack, I was seeing like these whole perk reworks. I was kind of hoping for a little bit more personally, but I like that they're doing changes. That's good. And now it starts with 3 tokens. It used to have 0. Gains 1 upon hooking a survivor. Breaking a pallet or break up a wall. Consume 1 token and cause survivors within 24 meters to scream and reveal their location for 3, 4, or 5 seconds. So that's pretty cool. You still only activate once per hook. They need to be often to be wasted. Yeah, so you start the game with this, so you can actually get some early on chases. It's kind of like a different take on lethal, except it doesn't give you aura reveal. Of course, it just like makes people scream. So that could be pretty cool. It'd be pretty cool if you have like a build based on screaming, like Doc. If you just want to have like maximum screams just for fun, that'd be a good perk for it. I kind of wish it was terror radius and not like 24 meters, but stealth killers also couldn't use it, I guess. So I don't know. You could honestly mess with people with this perk now. I think it's kind of cool. Machine learning, still not that good of a perk, but the most recently damage generator becomes compromised, opposed to, I think, what was it? It only would stay on the 1 gen. Wait, what does that say? Damage 1 generator to activate it and another to compromise it. Oh, wait, what? Oh, I didn't know that. Okay, so they basically made it feel better, but still, it's a perk where you have to like lose a gen, and then once that gen is completed, you go undetectable, and I think you get a movement speed boost for a minute. I don't know. I feel like giving to get is a little bit rough, especially with the perk that doesn't have that much extrinsic value. I think Deadlock is a perk that's way better because when the gen gets completed, it slows down the progression. This would still allow like gens being able to get pumped through. So, it's a different idea, but I don't know. I'm not very crazy about it. This Deathbound perk, similar to what they were doing with like the teamwork, this is the opposite. This basically requires that it always is on instead of like them have to be apart for the oblivious to happen. As long as the person, what does it say? When the healer is hooked. Oh, okay. So this perk is always active until that person who healed someone is hooked. Pretty cool. I can't remember if it's after unhook or not, but this is pretty cool. You'll definitely see it be more effective. They'll be undetectable, or I'm sorry, they'll be oblivious. So if you want people to be basically not know where everybody else is at until they're hooked, that's pretty cool. So it's actually might be really strong. I might have to double check and see how that works out. Then here's some fireworks. Sorry about that, guys. There's like a baseball game going on. They have fireworks. Zenshin Tactics total rework. Instead of being like pallets and windows and stuff like aura reveal, it makes it so when somebody's within 6 meters of the drop pallet, and then 16 of your location, you reveal their aura for up to 10 seconds. So it can be pretty cool. You can kind of like see them through the walls and stuff. And if you're somebody who you're like Legion or like maybe Wesker, you leave drop pallets, this could be pretty good. The power of aura is incredible, and you can boost that for 2 more seconds if you have, say, lethal. So aura perks, I didn't really always believe in aura perks, but there's a lot of value in them. And I think people don't expect you to always know that they're like perfectly in one spot behind a wall until you smack them. You know, there's no mind game when there's aura, and it's incredible. It's literally built in wall hacks into the game. Dead Man's, I think this is kind of cool. I'm not sure how it's going to work. You're not going to get multiple gen procs off of it. Like, it was not going to block multiple gens, but they basically buffed it a little bit stronger than it used to be. Now it only applies to the first generator where someone lets go for any reason. It could be Grim Embrace, it could be whatever, but it only applies to that one generator, and it blocks it for 50 seconds. So pretty cool. You can proc this up to, I'd say realistically, up to 11 times in a game. So that's, what is that? You know, that's probably like a little under 10 minutes worth of gen blocking. But again, that's hooking every survivor, like every survivor, at least 2 times. And then you hook 3 people 3 times. So it's pretty cool. I think that's all right. Because a lot of the times, unless it's somebody who knows how to counter Dead Man's, they're probably not going to think about it, and they're going to let go, and the gen's basically going to have max Grim Embrace on it. It used to be, what, 30 seconds? But you're going to want to have a perk that guarantees that 50 seconds for sure. So pretty cool. Blood Echo, I was glad to see this change. It no longer has like a 60-second cooldown, but the duration of Blood Echo, which is the exhaust and I think hemorrhage, it was like for a minute. It's now only 30 seconds. Totally fine. I think if you want to suppress people from having the ability to perform, combine this with Mindbreaker, and they're on a gen, they're going to have their exhaustion for 30 seconds, and they're going to be hemorrhaging. So if they get injured, they're going to not be able to heal for that time. Pretty cool. I think this is a pretty cool perk. It works with like Legion. It works with like Legion Broken Pin. It works with Oni. It even works with Plague. Pretty neat. So you're not going to have any people with Dead Hard. They literally have nothing to protect themselves if you keep this perk going. Pretty cool. Kind of a snowbally perk. It kind of fits in there somewhat nicely. Hex Crowd Control, this is incredible. It blocks the last 3, 4, 5 vaults that survivors rush through indefinitely until the perk is cleansed. So it used to be like up to 15 seconds, I think, but basically that's weaker than base kit. Like vaulting 3 times, it was like 30 seconds. That was like 15. This blocks it permanently, but it only does it for the last 5 vaults. That's incredible. You're probably going to see people like, maybe people complain about it, but this is good for people like Bubba, maybe even Wraith, who is just like, you don't really want to use Bamboozle, but this would fix the problem. It's automatic. You don't have to keep applying Bamboozle. Pretty cool. I think you can basically turn a lot of like vaults and stuff into just straight up walls, because nobody can go through it until the perk is removed. So this and Undying would probably go crazy, especially on like Swamp where you cannot find the totems. And some Swamp maps are pretty reliant on vaults. Not all of them, but some are. Predator, a freaking Wraith perk update. Like, this was insane to me. Instead of being what the scratch marks are incredibly or considerably closer together like it used to be, when they escape a chase, it reveals their aura and then it goes on cooldown. That's pretty cool. That's actually unironically good for Wraith, right? So like when they escape a chase, it could be him cloaking, it could be like Ghostface cloaking, it could be like anything. Like when a killer goes undetectable, it also stops the chase, and it would count for this. They win the chase, right? I like this. It's because stupid considerably thing, they moved, and moderately, they moved away from that years ago, and this just makes more sense. I think that's pretty cool. This is more about tracking, right? Like, I see you, and then you have lethal. It's 8 seconds that you can see them, because they're gonna be like looking behind themselves, like, oh, I got away, haha. And you're gonna be, you hit them. It's gonna be a nice hit and run perk. I think a lot of killers like Pig too, like crouch down, end the chase, reveal the aura, and then hit him again. Pretty cool. Or even Skull Merchant, actually, unironically. Big changes for her. They increased the hinder penalty when they get scanned. It used to be a 10% movement speed reduction. Now it's only 5. I don't know if I like that mechanic anyway. I feel like that's kind of an anti-struggle mechanic for her. I feel like survivors being able to get away so easily, even at bad loops for them, and they could still make it to a pallet with the 10%. And then they took that away. They halved it, and she no longer gains haste when scanning them. She's not that strong at loops, guys. Like, she has no anti-loop. Like, that was her anti-loop. They took it away. Kind of a bad decision. Skull Merchant is not a strong killer, at least not in that aspect. She's good at hit and run. I think the longer she chases, the weaker she becomes. She's kind of like maybe even like Onryo or I'd say even Chucky, right? They have a lot of like breakaway. They don't want to be chasing one survivor. They want to be applying pressure on the map. And Skull Merchant not having the ability to teleport, or like Chucky to sprint across the map like the way he does, it's kind of a bad decision. They need to think of something else to make her better with anti-loop. They also continued to change her. They look like big nerfs to me. The drone scan line is only 1, so instead of it being like 2 that spin around, it's just 1 that goes around. So it's even easier to dodge. But I guess the drones are always active, so they don't have to wake up. That was kind of a problem for a while. They did this before, though. The original Skull Merchant had initially active drones, I think, and they had to turn them off to make them inactive. You're going to see people hate Skull Merchant again because of that, right? It's like a nuisance, because now they have to dodge it and then disable it. Originally, they just walked up to it and they could just disable it. I don't know. I feel like they didn't give her much for what they took. I guess the scan lines are invisible, but Skull Merchant is not a strong killer anymore. Like, I think I barely started to barely get a 2K with her. Now, granted, I think my MMR for her is pretty high. I got like multiple teams going against me, like following each other around with flashlights and flashbangs and head-ons and stuff. But that's my problem. But I do think that she'll struggle to really fit up in a high slot anywhere. She's got less ability to win loops. She's going to have to give up on loops now because they took that power away from her. A bit of a shame to see, but she's not really a fan favorite anyways, so I'm not surprised. Billy, he was pretty strong for a while. I'm impressed that he was strong for like months and months and months in his current state. So his overdrive dissipates now after 8 seconds, was 15. His overdrive speed is down to 15.5. I think his overdrive speed was way too impossible to control. Did it help him win certain loops? Sure. But I don't know. Billy kind of came more of like a speed demon killer. He's not as like you don't really snipe anyone with Billy anymore. You kind of like hit walls and crap like way more. I feel like that was a problem for him. And I'm not the biggest fan of like what he became after his rework. You can't do Drift King Billy anymore, which is one of my initial concerns. But I was happy to see him strong. So seeing him get nerfed, I'm not surprised, and I'm not upset about it. He gets less overdrive, so it's like harder for him to get into overdrive now. And they increased his stun duration when he hits something. Or I'm sorry, it's his missed attack. I thought it was his stun. Sorry. When he misses something, he recovers a little bit longer, so it's a slower recovery. So that's fine. I think that's all right. I think Billy, he's also like Skull Merchant. He's not OP, but I think there'll be like some loops now where he won't win as much, which he used to struggle at all loops, so I think that's fine. He used to just be terrible in every way, but now he's just better in every way, so him getting dialed back a little bit is totally fine. I think you'll see him catch people less off guard with how strong he was, and they backed him back a little bit, and that's okay. They could have done way worse. I think Billy overheating was so dumb. That never needed to happen. That should have been a chapter in DBD's history that was like a joke, but it was live because they thought he was that OP. So they're a little bit more realistic about it, and I can appreciate that. So Twins got a little bit of a nerf as well. After he was crushed, he goes on 20-second cooldown instead of 15. And then after he downed somebody, he used to be vulnerable for 2.7 seconds, which was like nothing. It used to be like 6 seconds back in the day. So they basically give him a little bit of a buff up on there. Or he got nerfed, but they buffed that number up. So survivors can crush him after he downs someone. That's pretty cool. The Twins ended up getting some love despite their rework being binned. So that's okay. I think they got the love they needed anyway. They fixed the hitbox, which was huge. I know they put a lot here in this description. Anyway, they improved the HUD and displayed the teleport cooldown and hallucination spawn time. It used to just be some kind of like visual thing on screen on the sides, just like yellow bars that would fill up as it's about to spawn the next clone. That was fine. I think that people maybe just didn't understand how it worked, and you would have to like basically like sit there and tap the little spit to stop it from teleporting. I kind of wish it would make you manually place one down, like you press control and it puts it down or something. I'm not sure, but I don't know. Automatic clones are fine, just because you can juggle it like that. But I do think if they're going to have it be that way, the cooldown on stopping a spit should be like half of what it currently is, because like to be able to like delay the spawn of your clone is important. Like imagine if, say Demogorgon couldn't put his own portals down. He just had to like walk and like squat down and put a portal down, like whenever he felt like it. It's almost like he's crapping out a clone instead of like accurately spawning one. But I guess that's what mains are good at doing. So anyway, it changed his movement speed, so it now decreases sooner when charging. I think it used to be more of like a linear, or exponential. I'm sorry. He was like slow down, so now it's just like gets you down to that slower speed faster, which I don't know if it's a nerf or not. I think maybe it'll like stop you from like getting to where you want to be with like moving around with your charged up spit out, but who knows? I'm not really too sure about that. But the teleport recovery speed is now slightly increased to 15%. What it currently was. That brown add-on, the blurry photo, which they talk about, was like everyone used it. But there's more value in some of the add-ons, so they kind of just like gave him a little bit of love in that way. They adjusted the blurry photo and vanishing box on that, and there's improved visual and audio feedback when using UVX. I don't know. To me, the Unknown, I'm just not crazy about him. He's just kind of one of those killers that is okay. They're not crazy. They're definitely not like OP or anything. I feel like they're kind of a fun mind game that kind of takes me back to a time of like old school DVD where like Myers was terrifying. I think the Unknown kind of has that same effect, but in a new way. It still feels cool. Like there's some killers that I feel like are just kind of silly and they don't really make any sense and don't fit in the game. But the Unknown was like truly terrifying as a release, and their mechanics as well make them additionally a pretty terrifying killer. So wanted to cover some of these big changes with you guys. I'm sorry I didn't get there on time with the update. I wanted to do a video sooner, but I went to my cousin's wedding yesterday, and then I also had a nice day out with my family. Hopefully this shorter video was pretty good too. It'll take like 25 minutes or so as of recording. I'll probably cut some things down, but I wanted to get something out for you guys to kind of explain everything. I know sometimes I make these like 40 minutes, so that's why it's an improvement. So if you're new to the channel, it is still an improvement. Go watch my other ones if you want. Also subscribe if you enjoyed this video down below. Leave a like and let me know what you thought about these changes. I think there's some pretty good ones in here. I'm a little bit disappointed in the Skull Merchant nurse. I think she's actually was in a pretty decent spot. She was still pretty weak, and then the fact that they nerfed her again, I'm not sure. It might be a buff in some aspects, like the invisible scan lines, so the drones aren't as like blatantly obvious to where they are, and they're always active. But I feel like the one scan line is gonna be kind of goofy anyways, but we'll see. Like maybe they should make one of the add-ons, like an iridescent, where it has the two back again, but who knows. Anyway, pretty cool. I'm happy to see some race changes and some overall changes to perks that were just absolutely awful. So maybe you'll see a slight spike in the current meta and see some perks that were at like 0.001% go up to like 2%. That's huge, actually, in the grand scheme of numbers. That's like a massive multiplier. So anyways, again, thank you guys so much for watching, and of course let me know what you think down in the comment section below, and leave a like if you enjoyed. And yeah, much love guys, and I'll see you guys in the next one.